everyone, and welcome back to my channel. In this video, this is actually my first Christmas nail design, and of course I had to mix Christmas and unicorns because if you know me, if you've been to my channel quite often, you know how much I love unicorns. So I thought, why not mix them together? Those will be pretty awesome. So if you want to see how I did these nails, then just keep watching. So I've already glued on my stiletto tips. I cut them a tiny bit shorter than I usually do, not too much shorter because I can't go that short just yet. I love my long nails. And I'm just applying a layer of white acrylic to my pinky nail, and I also applied a layer of white acrylic to my index nail, but I didn't show that because it's the same thing. Why show the same thing twice? So next I'm moving on to the ring nail. And on my ring nail, I'll be turning this into a unicorn horn, so I always start with a very thick layer of white acrylic because I'll be carving into it with my nail drill. And it's always easier just to apply a very thick layer than applying a layer that's too thin, and then when you go to cut it, you cut into the nail and all that. And blood starts gushing out and it's a bloody mess, so yeah. I start with a very thick layer of acrylic. And on my middle nail, I've done the reverse method with my own cover pink powder, and I'm applying a Christmas mix that I just mixed together with Glitter Hoe in Australia's Chunky Red Holo and a chunky metallic green that I got from another website, and I just mixed it together with a little bit of clear acrylic, and I'm applying it to the tip on my middle nail. Aren't these little mini hollow Christmas trees just the cutest thing? And I'm just applying 3 of them on my middle nail. I literally had no clue what I was going to do on my thumbnail, so I thought I would apply a large bead of my Cover Pink, fade it down, and then I would apply the Christmas mix that I used on my middle nail on the tip of my thumbnail and sort of fade it up, but I was like, that's not going to look right. So I got the crazy idea to try out the knot polish or the color blocking trend that's kind of popular right now. So I tried that. So I already applied the Cover Pink because I was going to do the fade like I just mentioned, but I didn't want to do that. So I ended up going in with my nail drill and cutting the Cover Pink at an angle and then filing it and trying to do the knot polish. Then next I'm going in with red acrylic, and I think this is where my problem started. I was picking up the beads of acrylic and they were too small for me, whenever, because I did another knot polish design, it turned out so much better. But with this, in my opinion, you need to use larger beads of acrylic so that the entire bead of acrylic fills up the strip that you're going to cut. You don't want to be using different beads of acrylic, trying to line them up, trying to make sure they're all even, and then cutting. It's just going to turn out really uneven, which is what happened here. I should have just used one big bead of red acrylic, spread it out over the width of the nail, then went in and cut it. I know my fault, I know what to do, so it didn't really click until a little bit later on, so you'll see the nail starts to look better towards the middle of the nail down. But trial and error, that's how it is sometimes. And now I'm just going in with my flat top drill bit on my beautiful Holo nail drill. Made that myself if you're curious. Anyway, I'm just going in and I'm carving out the lines to make the unicorn horn on my ring nail. And I just switched out the drill bit to this smaller cuticle drill bit, and I'm going in the lines that I made. I'm just making them a little bit wider because the flat top drill bit does make the lines quite narrow. So this just makes them a little bit wider and more deeper, just to give it more of a unicorn horn effect. And to make the unicorn horn look more 3D, I go in with more of the white acrylic and I apply it just to the top parts of the unicorn horn, just to make it look a little bit more raised up. And yeah, that's just what I'm doing. Next I'm going in with a nail buffer, and this just smooths out the acrylic that I just applied, makes it a little bit more even, and it also smooths out the lines on the unicorn horn so they're not as sharp. Moving on to my pinky nail, I'll be repeating the same thing on my index nail. So I'm just applying a mix of a fine, sort of like a unicorn color shifting glitter with a chunky unicorn shifting glitter, and I'm just applying that sideways on my nail to sort of give like a kind of marble effect. I guess, I don't know what to call it, but it's glittery. It's not like an actual marble, just with the glitter. I really loved how this glitter looked. I wasn't sure what I was going to do on these two nails because they were white. I wanted to give it more of a tone down, but still wanted it to look sort of unicorn-like. So this is just what I came up with. And now I'm going to encapsulate all of the nails in clear acrylic, and if you're curious what I'm using the NSI Attraction Totally Clear Powder and their Attraction Nail Liquid. This is my favorite. It's a little on the pricey side, but I think it's totally worth it. The nails end up super clear. The acrylic systems I've used in the past, after they've dried, they're a tiny bit cloudy, not as clear as this one, so this is the one I totally recommend and I'll always use because it's my favorite. After the acrylic is dried, I go in with a 180 grit nail file and I'm filing the sides of the nail, and I'm also filing a little bit of the surface of the nail because I did make the acrylic a little uneven. This is a first for me and usually get it quite even, so I did have to go in with a nail file. Usually I would just use the nail buffer, but I was a little sloppy this time around, so I had to fix it. Now I'm going in with a very sparkly gold gel polish and a thin liner brush, and I'm applying the gel polish into the lines of the unicorn horn. I really loved the contrast between the white and the gold, and I thought this just made the nails look awesome. Now I'm going in with a gel top coat. This is actually the NSI Glaze & Go, because I noticed whenever I do a white nail, when I use my other gel polish, it has a tendency to turn the white a tiny bit weird. It doesn't retain the beautiful pure white color that the acrylic is. So when I use the NSI Glaze & Go, that doesn't happen. It remains a true white. So that's just what I'm using on these. I didn't want to risk ruining the nails. Have to do them all over again. Not really. I just have to file it off. Why am I being just so dramatic? Anyway, this is the NSI Glaze & Go. The other one I use that turns the white a little bit weird is the KC Gel Top Coat. Always use that one, but for this one I'm just using the NSI Glaze & Go, and I'm applying it to the raised up parts of the unicorn horn, and I'm applying it all over my other nails. So I made these cute little poinsettias out of this nail mold that I got on AliExpress and red and green acrylic. And yeah, I just made a bunch of them in different sizes. I knew I wanted to use them this year, so I'm just applying 3 of them on the unicorn horn nail with some nail glue. And now I'm adding some Swarovski crystals to my middle nail. I've been on such a Swarovski crystal kick for, I don't know, the past couple weeks. I love using them. And I'm using the colors light Siam and white Opal. So here's the final look for these Christmas unicorn nails. Such a weird combination, but I think they turned out quite beautiful and I'm so happy with them. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks so much for watching and have a Merry Christmas. Bye!